All right, GM, everybody, thank you all so much for being here. Shout out to Tamago for the tunes. Let me first go ahead and share my screen, get the deck up, and we will get started. All right, everybody. I'm Marcus with Near Foundation, and I'm excited to welcome you all here to either your first town hall if you're new, welcome, or to another town hall if you've been here before. There's been so much happening in the Near ecosystem these past several weeks or even months. It's super exciting to see all of the new developments. Amazing to see what the community's been up to. There's definitely quite a bit happening. I've curated quite a packed agenda for today's town hall, but I am very confident that we'll get through all of it. So what we'll hear about today, we'll get an update on Near Foundation's focus for 2024 from Illia himself. Um, we'll dive into chain signatures and get an overview from Felipe on the Pagoda team. We'll get an ETHDenver recap from Kiana, and then Maria will dive into the hackathon side. We will talk a little bit about the ecosystem empowerment initiatives and focus items for transparency, just so everybody's aware of what to expect. And then we'll get a couple of project deep dives from some exciting projects coming out of the most recent Horizon cohort, HCN2. We'll hear from Plato and Superchargd. And then we will close it out with some ecosystem highlights from the NEARWEEK team to talk about all the exciting things that have been happening in the Near ecosystem. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ilya to get things started.
Oh, hello. Thanks, Marcus. And yeah, let's dive in. This is just some high-level updates, so kind of we keep everyone on the same page. We'll be talking more about this, obviously, in subsequent conversations, but in the interest of time. So for 2024, kind of in contrast to 2023, when we were really focused on user acquisition and really bringing kind of this mass user like projects with massive user bases, really focused on kind of monthly active users, uh, and achieved really kind of great results with over 10 million monthly active users, pretty much consistently active on Near. Now, switching gears to kind of interconnect Web3 and unlock new opportunities for those users, right? Like now that those users are here, many of them don't have much to do beyond the initial kind of interaction with Kaiching, with Sweat, with Hot. How do we really interconnect this? How do we bring these users to all of the Near applications, as well as applications across other Web3 kind of ecosystems, and then make sure they have a way to, make money, learn something, figure out kind of how to engage with the economy of Web3. And that kind of, in the steps we're making, really allows to kind of start growing the not just user base, but also the economy of Web3 that is powering this. So if I go to the next slide, and the outcome we want is a productive economy on Near and other chains, right? Not just kind of rehypothecation of the same capital, but actually creating new value, creating kind of way for people to interact with real world, be that, paying for things, e-commerce, able to create new, for example, data that is valued by other parties, as they train their machine learning models, like all of that path of new economy that blockchain can be powering. Now, as Near, we also want to establish as a leader of chain abstraction movement, right? We started this chain abstraction movement, and it's been a kind of a goal of ours to like, how do we bring everybody together to really work on growing Web3 together instead of kind of in this competitive environment that I would say layer ones had before. And Near is, driving this forward and kind of becoming, a leading voice in this. And so if you go to the next slide, for Near, the chain abstraction is not a new thing. When we started, we really were always thinking, how do we abstract the blockchain in such a way that as a developer and as a user, you're not need to think about specific implementation details. Like the example I use, you go to Netflix, you need to choose which data center you're going to be watching the movie from, and then that data center is busy, so you need to like move your money, like pay more for that movie. That's kind of the Web3 state right now, where you're like exposed to internals of the application. And so how do we really abstract that out, provide a kind of very straightforward experience for everyone, and let people to actually enjoy kind of the benefits. Now, we started just focusing on Near, right? How do we design Near to do that? How do we design all the services around it? But kind of this transition over last year was pretty clear that we should expand that to all chains, right? And so kind of chain signatures and other products, including decentralized front ends, were all pointed at this direction. How do we build tools that allow developers to now have chain abstracted applications that don't really kind of feel like they're just on one chain? They can be anywhere, they can be accessed by anyone, and really kind of tying together this space. So that's kind of as near as, we went through this transformation, we focused on chain abstraction, and we kind of bringing all of the chains and applications together. Next slide. Now, this is kind of the question, like the answer to the question what we're doing now. It's important to understand that like long term, all of this going to be continuously changing. And so one of the things we've been talking last year a lot is about operating system. I have published this kind of longer term vision, which really outlines the idea that as its technologies evolve, right, and AI is another piece of the technologies that will be kind of changing. We have, personal data, private data, kind of novel way of experiencing things. All of this together will form this new way of doing things, which I call self-sovereign operating system. On a high level, this is the idea that as your kind of self-sovereignty becomes stronger because, so chain abstraction, various applications that, people are building in across the Web3 ecosystem through AI, that's really starting to actually allow to interact with computing and experiences in a different way, right? In a more direct way. All of this is changing how we actually interact with computing and kind of I would say the power centers around, right? Like instead of having a singular, application that you need to go to use, actually the applications will be living on your side. Because the data is now staying on your side, the assets belong to you. And so the experiences now, like everything from, you scrolling through the feed to the application you're interacting with, all of that will happen on your side as well. And you have this user-owned AI that will be kind of your assistant, your facilitator. It may actually act on your behalf in some blockchain interactions as well. So we are working on this kind of, making each of this piece more specific. Just to mention, like on the data side, right, we have Calimero that's working on private data. We have partnership with Urbit around it as well. On user-owned data, there's a lot of kind of work happening. On user-owned AI, there's a lot of work happening from everything from how do we build edge models to how do we interact with computing in a new way? How do we interact with blockchains through natural language? For example, what Minbase is doing. How do we build experiences from scratch, kind of in natural language, what Jutsu is doing. So kind of a lot of work happening there. The trustless interaction blockchain, that's kind of where the chain abstraction sits and really creates this kind of interface to use all of the Web3. And experiences is really what things like DApp, and kind of Near.org, Social are providing, where you aggregate a lot of different applications in a way into one place where you go and kind of interact with lots of different experiences. Now, all of these things are at different stages. They kind of all progressing. But that's, again, wrapping it into a singular vision that really ties it all together is where we're going, again, on the longer term, kind of 3 to 5 year horizon. Right now, chain abstraction really gives us a very clear, guiding post. It allows to launch new types of applications. It allows for applications who want to launch to not limit themselves to any singular ecosystem's user base. It allows to join kind of the liquidity, join the user base, join the kind of functionality for composability of the apps. And so that is kind of primary focus. And then the rest is really being built in the ecosystem to kind of fulfill this longer term vision. So with that, I'll pass it to for a demo of chain signatures. Yeah, and if you want to learn more on this kind of longer term vision, Mally linked the main Denver talk where I kind of was focused more on like why are we doing this and how, and kind of a few pieces on how.
Hey everyone, how are you doing? My name is Felipe. I'm a front-end developer on the emerging technologies team. And I'm here like to share with you a small demo that I built on top of the chain signatures. So first, let me give a brief introduction why we're doing that. Because like one of the main issues of Web3 that we're talking a lot, it's that when you're using Web3, you must create an account. If you want to use like the app on Ethereum, you must create an account on Ethereum. If you want to make a transaction on Bitcoin, you must create an account on Bitcoin. So that makes like the user experience on Web3 not that good because then you have to manage passphrases, manage multiple accounts, know which chain you're using. And so what we're working now, basically in the past months, it's abstracting this from the user using the chain signature. So basically, what we are able now is you create a single account on Near, and then you can manage assets on different chains. You can manage assets on Ethereum, you can manage assets on Bitcoin or other chains using a single Near account. So I'm gonna share with you the small demo that I built, and yeah, let me share my screen here. Oops, yeah, okay, I think it's good. So, okay, basically, we have an app here. Let me just erase my data here that I was testing, and I can explain everything here. So basically, what we have here, you can select the chain. Now this demo supports Ethereum, Bitcoin, and BNB. And how it works, it's basically you're going to provide a path for the key that you want to use. The standard that we were talking about is first you type the chain that you want to use. So you can put Ethereum. And then you put the domain that you want to use, that the key belongs to. So let's say this one. That's one I was testing. So it's going to have some balance here. But let's just change this so we can have like an empty balance. Let's put AAA here. So here we have the derived address that you can copy. And I'm going to add some funds to this one on Ethereum. I'm using Sepolia here. Let me just add some, let's say 3 here. Oops. Let's wait a bit for the transaction to finish. Let's just wait. It's taking a little bit of time. Okay, it's gonna take a little bit. So I'm just gonna do the demo on the other one, and later we can check this. So yeah, we have some Ethereum here, and then we can make a transaction out of this. So let me just copy my address here, and we choose the amount that you want to transfer. Let's say you want to transfer 0.03, and we can send it. Yeah, now we are calling a smart contract that's developed by us. It's only running on testnet now, but by the end of the month, we should be have this on production. And yeah, let's just wait for the confirmation here. Okay, so then we have the transaction here. So this is the key, the address that we derived by this key here. So if I copy this and you can check this here, it's the same address. And this is my wallet address. So my MetaMask, I should have got like 0. This is my transfer out. So maybe not here yet, it's not finished, but you can see it's on chain. So let's do the same thing for other chains. Let's take BNB here. So what we do is change the chain here. We get a new address here. I'm gonna add some funds to this one too. So let me come to BNB testnet. I'm gonna send. Let me top up this with 0.1. I hope BNB goes faster, so we can really test with a new address instead of one that I already have some funds there. Okay, there you go. So we have the cash here. And then let me just pick another address here. I'm gonna transfer the same one. So that's my address. It's gonna be the same one because yeah, same passphrase. And we're gonna send 0.1 here. So now I'm gonna send a transaction on BNB. Yeah, it's processing here on the RPC. Let's wait for confirmation. Okay, there you go. So then we have a transaction done on BNB. And if you copy, just to make sure, so if you copy this address and come here, they're the same address here, and it transferred to my wallet. So you see, like Ethereum and BNB both are working, and those are very easy to implement because both are EVM. So it's easily to extend for other EVM chains. We basically change the provider URL and also the chain ID, and it's done. So it's very easy to change from Ethereum to BNB and other EVM chains. But Bitcoin was a bit trickier because it works different. So let me just get this one. And the wallet for Bitcoin, it's on my phone. So let me just transfer some funds to this address here. And yeah, just a second. So I'm gonna send 0.003. Yeah. Okay, it's sending. And now let's wait for the confirmation, and we should see the balance here updating. Okay, there you go. So now we have some Bitcoins here. Let me get to my address of my wallet. Okay, there you go. So I can paste it here, and we're gonna transfer 0.001. And then we can send this. Okay, there you go. So the, oh wait, maybe, wait a bit. Okay, there you go. So yeah, there's some issues yet. I still have to optimize on this side. As you can see, I'm spending more than I should. If I use Segwit, we can save some money. But this is my wallet address, and this is the change address. That's basically the address that we sent from here. So if I catch this, it's the same as here. So as you can see, the Bitcoins were transferred to my wallet. I cannot show you the balance because it's on my phone, but that's it. And yeah, so our plan is to add more and more support to this chain. EVM is, as I mentioned to you, it's easy, but other chains like BTC or other chains, we have plans to extend on this side. And let me just stop sharing my screen. I don't know how to do that. Okay, I'm just gonna keep talking later. Yeah. So yeah, and also coming with this, we're also adding support to the Fast Signer. So the apps that are already integrated in the Fast Signer are gonna have this out of the box. It's just calling a new endpoint that we're creating, and then you can send chains on a transaction in other chains too. And yeah, this is live on testnet. My testing was all done on the testnet, and we are releasing this to production on March 27. And if you want access to the demo repo, you just like scan this QR code, and that's it. You have access to it. And the contract that we're calling, it's written on the slides. And if you want to code it by yourselves and implement something on top of it, yeah, just code it by yourselves. And that's it. Hope you like it. If you have any questions, just let me know. And yeah, I hope I can answer you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that demo, Felipe. That was absolutely amazing. Crazy to see that. Super excited. So next up we have ETHDenver Recap from Kiana, and then like I said, Maria should be jumping in at the end to cover the hackathon side.
All right. Thank you, Marcus. Next slide, please. So on behalf of the marketing and events team at the foundation, we'd like to provide an update on our presence at ETHDenver, which we called Near in Etherland. Next slide, please. So hopefully you saw it on social or saw it in real life, but we really leaned into an Alice in Wonderland theme where, users have fallen down this Web3 rabbit hole and they've come up in this place where the promises of chain abstraction are delivered. So of course, instead of the traditional follow the white rabbit, this is one of our key creative assets, and it's more of a follow the black dragon. Next slide, please. So the week kicked off with our first ever Chain Abstraction Day in partnership with Frontier Research and Agoric. The day started off with a builder's breakfast, followed by really, really strong programming, and ended with a happy hour. So Frontier Research kind of displayed or, launched this cake framework, which stands for Chain Abstraction Key Elements. So throughout the day, the attendees were taken through, if you look on the right-hand side, this image of the cake, they were taken through the different layers throughout the day through the programming. So we had different speakers covering the settlement layer, solver, permission, and application layer. In terms of attendees, we had over 1,300 registrations, which is really strong. And even more strong, we had over 470 people check in. If you think of the competition levels at an event as popular and well attended as ETHDenver, these numbers are really, really strong. And not only did we have a high quantity of attendees, we also had really, really high quality of people that were invited from, of course, our team, as well as Frontier Research and Agoric. So just a quick shout out to those groups. And additionally, wanted to quickly plug that we are continuing to do Chain Abstraction Days. They will become a series, and our next Chain Abstraction Day will be on the 26th in Seoul as part of the ETH Seoul and Middle Asia Week. So if you will be in Seoul, make sure you stop by and apply to attend on our Luma page. Next slide, please. Okay, great. So now jumping into our presence on the actual show days of ETHDenver. If you take a look at all the images on the right, you can get a quick glimpse into what our booth looked like all the time, completely packed. Shout out to everyone who worked the booth because it was a labor of love to make sure that everyone got their questions answered, got the swag that they wanted, and just interacted with us in various ways. So we had 17 speaking opportunities through main and side events. We had 13 near affiliated side events, $35,000 in total prizes across 5 near bounties, and we had 482 leads generated via our Shard Dog activation. So shout out to Marcus and shout out to Jared from Shard Dog for putting that together. This is a huge increase from last year. If you were at ETHDenver last year, there was no Wi-Fi, and so it was really, really hard to garner and generate leads. So this is a really standout kind of KPI for us. We had 6 tea parties. So if you were lucky enough to attend one of the tea parties, you were able to experience that experiential moment with our in-house thespian, David Morrison. Thank you so much for all your efforts beforehand, putting those videos together, and at the tea party itself. Everyone that I spoke to said it was the best experiential moment that they've seen at a booth, and they've been to a million crypto conferences. So that was really, really well regarded and well reviewed. We also had 2 bespoke creatives launched. So we had our Black Dragon video as well as our Chain Abstraction video. Both of those can be found on social media if you missed them on the TV screen at the booth itself. So thank you to everyone who participated and worked a booth shift. We really couldn't have done it without you. Next slide. And just to finish off, thank you so much for everyone who has submitted feedback. Here are some just anecdotal pieces here on the slide. As I mentioned, just overwhelmingly positive feedback about the presence our entire week, mentioning our booth, mentioning different talks, and mentioning Chain Abstraction Day. So if you interacted with us at all at any point within the week and you haven't submitted feedback, please do. It really, really helps us to continue to iterate and improve. And overall, this is probably one of the highest NPS scores we've had to date. So thank you to everyone who helped make this possible and made our presence at ETHDenver a really successful one. So now over to Maria. Thank you.
Thank you, Kiana. Jumping into the slides without any hesitations. So it's been an amazing hackathon. It's my 3rd, I think, ETHDenver throughout my whole time at Near Ecosystem, and I think this was the biggest and the developeriest. So it consisted of 2 side events, kind of build week that lasted for 7 days, and we're really happy with the number of submissions and most importantly with the quality of submissions. Because the builders had 7 days instead of traditionally having 48 hours. And we also attended Pragma, a great conference that's going on actually tomorrow as well in London. We will be there as well. And we hosted a small and geeky side event. If you've been there, just give us a shout out. We provided the first chain abstraction bounty ever. It was a labor of love, and Shardog, Joe Spaino helped explain it for the developers because collectively we tried to translate everything that we knew about chain abstraction into more accessible language. And if you're also working at hackathons, trying to explain the builders how it works, please scan the QR code below. We have some talking points to share. We onboarded more than 100 builders. We can still interact with them in the Telegram group, and actually the official results of the hackathon haven't been announced just yet. But on the next slide, I will announce our winners. It's kind of a teaser, so it's not official yet. And I want to say thank you for everyone who supported us, Near Foundation team, events. You are simply the best. Proximity, thank you so much for preparing the bounty along with us, Shard Dog, Team Horizon, Team Jutsu, and all the community members who helped us out, interacting with developers and driving great projects and great submissions towards us. So we received 17 great submissions, which is twice higher than Polygon received, which is a point I'm really proud of. So yeah, we can probably go on to the next slide. And I want to present our winners. Can we switch to the next slide, please? Yeah. So you can see all of the submissions. If you scan the QR code, there is a Devfolio page with all of the gallery. I think there is 600 submissions in total. So we had one really great submission for the chain abstraction bounty called Agents with Benefits. Two great submissions for the near native event platform bounty, and one great submission for the Horizon bounty, the near smart contract playground. So we will create a Twitter thread as soon as the results will be officially announced by ETHDenver. But if you're curious, if you want to meet our builders and our winners, just scan the QR code and go ahead and see all the submissions. And if you give them a like on Devfollow, they will know about it and they will be proud of their results even more. So I think that's the hackathon recap. And we are supporting ETH Global London this weekend. If you're around, drop by the booth, say hi to the DevHub folks, and looking forward to see you at our next events. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kiana and Maria. Amazing overview and recap of ETHDenver. It was absolutely surreal. Huge difference from a lot of the previous events. Super exciting. The next section I just want to dive into, this will be a pretty brief section, just ecosystem empowerment efforts and focus items from Near Foundation, just to make sure that we're transparently communicating just how we're kind of working more closely with the ecosystem. So I'll hand it over to Yadira just to quickly go over the Near Foundation marketing and NEARWEEK efforts.
Thank you, Marcus. And thank you again, Maria and Kiana. That was really incredible work. I think part of the success of all of our events are creating those 360-degree experiences, bringing in members of the ecosystem, which brings us to this slide of bringing in NEARWEEK to our marketing efforts. It's definitely in practice that we want to start spreading as far as getting chain abstraction widespread, pushing that narrative, thoughtfully bringing in ecosystem projects. So with NEARWEEK, we are going to continue amplifying NEARWEEK's strengths, really fostering more newsletters into the ecosystem. They're so beloved. They really highlight and amplify all of the projects, really curating more Twitter spaces, and also, as I mentioned, thoughtfully amplifying projects. So whether those are in Twitter spaces, whether those are in long-form Twitter threads, or in the newsletters, or even blogs to come up, we're really thrilled to be partnering with NEARWEEK as we move forward into this next year. And what we'd like to see more of, and this doesn't just apply to NEARWEEK, but also for the broader ecosystem, is memes. You know, we want to see chain abstraction memes pop up. So I not only inspire NEARWEEK to do more of them, but also everyone who's tuning into this call. So stay tuned for more information and updates, but we are excited to continue to expand on NEARWEEK and amplify their strengths. So thanks, Marcus.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Yadira. Next up, we're going to be covering some of the community transition initiatives that have been unfolding and what you can expect moving forward. Kiskessis, I think that you are going to take the lead on this one if you're here.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Perfect.
Yes. Okay. So perfect. So some few words about in-app transition to NDC. So we are currently working on 3 different directions. Is first of all, if it's moving the moderators team from Near Foundation to Service DAO, so it's new decentralized way of moderating the Telegram, Discord, Reddit, and Go forum, of course. We actually finished the moving, and we have right now the team of the 6 people from the community who are like asking these hundreds of questions about how to deposit the Near from Sex and where I can buy hot and many other questions. So kudos to Dev and Rahul and Marcus, Potato, everybody from the Near Foundation who helped us. The second transition is transition of the governance framework. We are working on a new decentralized forum and proposal reporting via NDC. So it will be a new boss pages to handle this kind of things, to make the process transparent and make the communication of the important topic for our community on chain. And the third thing is a new unified funding flow. So what is this? This is like the support for our awesome projects and startups to receive the support, because right now it's kind of kind of unclear where you can receive support, who you need to write and everything. So we are building like the block schemas, we're building the website to make this process unified across all ecosystem. So it's kind of huge thing. Yeah, could we move to the next slide, please? Yeah, and a few words about the NDC. NDC is a Near Digital Collective, is a decentralized governance of the Near protocol ecosystem. We have 29 people, 3 houses, and 6,000 awesome members who are making decisions on where the money should go. We have around like 4 million Near at the moment, and we are deciding, the community deciding where this money should go. At the moment, we found 36 projects. It's like different funding. It's not only the funding for the futures and everything. We give marketing support, we give support for the events and everything like that. We bring new projects like Plato and Pipeflare or Talentum to Near ecosystem, Aurora ecosystem. So yeah, if you're interested, just type Near DC or NDC and join us. Thank you for that time.
Awesome. Thank you very much for the overview, Kiskesis. Appreciate what you guys are doing there. And lastly, on the transition side, Brandon, if you want to come do a quick shout out of Founder Fridays, transitioning from Horizon to Near at Night, that would be cool. Otherwise, I'm happy to take it.
Yeah, I can do that really quickly. Good morning, everyone. Just wanted to talk about Near at Night. We've been running for a little bit over a year now, and it's just basically a daily spaces, Monday through Friday, that we just talk about community updates in Near, but mainly we give a chance for projects to talk about what they're building. We have an AMA, we run through various different topics that they want to talk about, and we're pretty successful with our views. Recently, we had a spaces with Near Horizon. They got to talk about what they were doing, and we had about 500 views within a couple days. That's where it stands right now. And we've been talking with Bianca, and a lot of the different projects inside the cohort are really interested in speaking on Near at Night and discussing what they're building. And we're going to be moving forward Thursdays for a project from the cohort each Thursday. I'm taking over founder spaces. So yeah, if there's any questions or anything on that, I'll provide a link in the description. We actually have Rob from Plato Eat to Earn tomorrow. So yeah, that's going to be a very, very good one. So yeah, that's it for me.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you, Brandon. Speaking of Rob from Plato, he'll be presenting at today's town hall. So without further ado, let's get into project deep dives. We have a couple from, again, Near Horizon's latest accelerator, cohort HCN2. To kick things off, we'll dive in with Superchargd, previously Maps. So Nishal, if you're on here, you can go ahead.
Yep, thanks, Marcus. Glad to be here. My name is Nishal. I'm the founder of Superchargd. What we're trying to do is we want to build essentially a decentralized network of EV chargers. We are part of a cohort of companies which work in the deep in space. This is typically Helium. You guys might have heard of Helium, which is basically trying to build an IoT network, and recently they're trying to build a cell phone network as well, a decentralized cell phone network, as well as some of the more popular ones recently. With the AI boom, there's networks like Akash and Render, which do decentralized compute as well, where anyone can put up the GPUs on the market and anyone who wants to run AI models can use those GPUs to run their models. Can you go to the next slide, Marcus? So our mission is basically to build a decentralized network of EV chargers. There's a few in the other projects that are also working on this type of problem. Our goal is to eliminate the traditional DePIN barriers to entry. Typically for DePIN, you need to buy a device. In the case of Helium, you need to buy a miner. In the case of Demo, you got to buy a dongle, which plugs into your vehicle. And typically there's a wait during the bull market. Sometimes you got to wait for these devices for over 4 to 6 months at times. And at the same time, we want to leverage the power of community building. So what Web3 is good at is quickly building out decentralized communities. So we want to basically supercharge that effort to tackle a problem that a lot of EV owners like myself have is the lack of reliable charging. You go to the next slide, Marcus. All right, so why now? Why are we doing this now? So this is from a recent PwC report. Right now in North America, there's about 3 million electric vehicles. But recently there has been this bill a couple of years back to kind of give more subsidies for EVs as well as charging stations. It's expected by 2040, we'll have almost 100 million EVs on the road. Likewise for charging stations as well, there's potentially around 4 million or so, 4 to 6 million EV chargers. And then that's going to increase to over 100 million EV chargers by 2040. Now, if you look at the graphic, the interesting thing there is the vast majority of chargers are going to be at home. They're going to be in single family units, or they're going to be in multi-family residential units. Only a very, very small fraction is what's essentially going to be public charging, the equivalent of today's gas stations. So these chargers typically either in single family homes or in multi-family homes are not accessible. Only the people that either live there can use it. For the vast majority of the time, they're lying there unused. So we want to try to get those onto the network. All right, next slide. So here's the exact problem that we're trying to tackle, and the situation that's unique in California. When you generate excess power, if you have solar or wind turbine or any type of green power, and you're generating excess, you get very little for that power when you send it back to the grid. You only get anywhere from 3 to 9 cents per kilowatt hour. But at the same time, if you're charging an EV, let's say you parked at a local BART station. Here we have rapid transit station. You're probably paying anywhere from 5 to 20 times as much to charge your EV. So your car could be parked there for 8 to 10 hours. You're paying at least 20 times, sometimes 10 to 20 times of what a home down the street is getting paid to send power back to the grid. So that's a disparity that we're going to solve. So in the next slide, you'll see that if we work, our goal is to build this Airbnb model where you can actually park your vehicle for a certain amount of time. We've set up a system where you can actually pay the host. And then it's a win-win situation for both because you can charge for a lot cheaper, the equivalent of being able to gas up your vehicle for potentially half the price. And then the hosts themselves can actually make some money off of that as well, way more than what the grid would pay them. At the same time, we're also working on a second product. This is a pretty early stage where we can actually take data from your smart meter when you're sending power back to the grid. We can actually tokenize that data. And there's programs in California that pay up to $2 a kilowatt hour when the grid is under a lot of stress. So if you have a EV or you have solar and you're sending excess power to the grid, there's often programs where the state will actually pay you money whenever there's a lot of load on the grid to send power back into the grid. We want to use blockchain technology to basically do this in real time so that you can actually tokenize that excess energy and you can immediately get the equivalent of USDC or stable coins in your wallet. Next slide. How this exactly works is we set up guest and host wallets. So anyone on the platform similar to Airbnb, you'll have your wallets. We're going to have the entire building chain abstraction, so no one knows exactly what's happening behind the scene. We're going to set up escrow wallets, an escrow smart contract that will split the payments. We'll have a small platform fee for facilitating the whole transaction. We'll split that transaction. We're also setting up the equivalent of gas station wallets where essentially we cover all the gas fees and the host and guest would never know that there's actually blockchain technology in the back end. The whole experience will be extracted away. We'll also mint certain data as NFTs. So there's another project called as Devo, which does something very similar. Anytime a dongle comes online or a new vehicle comes online, they have a burn mechanism or they mint an NFT where they write certain data onto the chain. So the data that's important for us, initially, we're going to write some of that data onto the chain as well. All right, next slide. So the market that we are targeting is about half the market. This is the equivalent of the gas station market. So whenever you gas up the car, about the half the market cares for convenience. They want, they want to gas up their vehicle as soon as possible. The other half is mainly concerned about things like price. They want a lowest price gas station or loyalty. Someone only wants to gas up at Shell or Chevron. They have a particular brand they want to go after, or the quality of the fuel that they want. They really care about it. So we are looking at the 50% of the market, the EV market, that either is willing to sacrifice time for low cost. They're okay plugging in their vehicle for a longer time. They don't want to get a charge as soon as possible, or they care about loyalty. This is big in Web3, where they're either getting tokens or NFTs and the like for doing activity on a platform, as well as some people really care about the fact that the energy that's getting in their vehicle is green. It's coming from green sources and the like. So that's our go-to market. We are looking at about approximately half the market that really doesn't care about convenience and the other factors like price, loyalty, and quality that matter more to them. Our business model, again, is win-win. So if you're a host on the platform, you essentially could get anywhere up to 10x of what you would get paid from sending power to the grid. At the same time, if you're a EV owner who's fine, waiting longer to charge your vehicle, you can charge the vehicle for half the cost. And the way we're going to make money, obviously, on the platform, outside of the token component and all the incentives we'll get out, is by having a platform fee for both guests and hosts. It's very similar to the Airbnb or Vrbo model or a Turo model, where you're putting an excess resource out on the platform for sharing, and there's a fee on both sides, which essentially will be used to either do token buybacks in the future, or it'll be used to pay for folks that chose to stake their tokens on the platform.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nishal, for coming up here. Super insightful presentation. Really looking forward to it. I'm actually thinking of converting to EV myself, and we all know the issues of the current charge model. So once again, I really appreciate you taking your time to come on here. And next up, we also have a second project from the recent Horizon Accelerator cohort, HCN2, Plato. So Rob, if you're still here, please come up and present Plato.
Hey there, GM. Can you hear me okay, Marcus?
Yeah, we can hear you perfect.
All right, awesome. Let me get started. So my name is Robert Gao, co-founder of Plato. Actually, still go to the first slide. So basically, what I love to describe Plato is we're building the new economy around food through Eat to Earn. And, our token is FAT, F-A-T. So I always love to kind of play on this degen energy. We're going into a bull market, or maybe we're in a bull market already. So it's all about fixing the food economy around getting fat. Next slide, please. So just a little bit about myself. Basically, this is my third time building a mobile consumer startup. I actually was, started my career building Blackberries for investment bankings. But since then, I've done a couple other sort of pretty interesting mobile-related projects. Why Plato? Why around food? I grew up around my uncle's restaurant when I was a kid, and really this kind of started because of me trying to help my uncle getting foot traffic in person after COVID. As you know, most restaurants were very much impacted by COVID, and my uncle actually had to use Uber Eats and DoorDash for the first time after 37 years. And so getting those people into restaurant in-person dining helps your local restaurant in their sort of higher margin business. Next slide. So now that you know who I am, a couple of insights I wanted to share with you guys. So, as you know, we used to live, I like to say, we used to live in the age where information is at your fingertips, right? If we have an information we want to search, we go to Google, we enter a search query, and through a bunch of long reads, we try to gain our own insight, right? Today, we live in a world where we get instant insight. And in the world of GPTs, right, we don't have to read a bunch of things. TRDL, that's how we get our insight. Now, what made Google, beat out other sort of search engine was their ability to come up with this page rank in the beginning and basically link to very relevant information based on how others' websites are linking to whatever you're searching. And I think in this day and age, the Google supremacy is actually being challenged by any company that can actually capture unique verified data sets so that the LLMs or the GPTs that's actually responsible for feeding us instant insight can actually give us the proper insight. Next slide. If you kind of think about that, right, able to do any general search, with that instant insight experience, it's actually not too far out to say, you know what, Google Map hasn't really changed in the last 10 to 15 years. And the way we search for food, AKA restaurant or food near me, is super outdated. We don't get instant insight, but instead we get a bunch of information thrown at us. We have to go through, and very similar. It just, we get a bunch of information that we really don't really know what to do, and a lot of time we get paralysis from all these choices that we have. Next slide. So in order for us to actually create this instant insight experience around food, what we actually identify is that there's a huge data gap around restaurant data. What does that mean? Well, think about the last time you went to a restaurant. Most of the time, you probably didn't leave a review. And in fact, 95% of us don't leave a review. Now, the ones that do leave a review, they're either very happy or really angry. Most of the time, they're very angry. On top of that, though, is that many reviews, whether it's on Yelp, Google Maps, TripAdvisor, they're not verified by purchase. So it's very easily faked. Next slide. And so, we believe that through Eat-to-Earn, we can actually, activate this decentralized army of data collectors, right? So Eat-to-Earn is really disguising data to earn. And I think by collecting all this data, we can actually build a much better interface around searching for food. And in turn, right, the rewards that people are getting rewarded are actually coming from the foot traffic that we're driving into restaurants. And we've done, in the last year or so, we've actually, worked with 30 plus different restaurants to try to test out what business model can actually make sense. Next slide. So in terms of the data collection that we have done so far with our Plato Eats app, we've actually have captured over $1.2 million worth of receipt in IRL restaurants. Over 60 different countries. We don't have a lot of users currently. We only have about close to 25,000 users. But in 2024, this is where we're going to ramp up that effort. So next slide. So in order to kind of eat to earn and get fat, it's pretty easy. One, you pick where to eat, whether it's right from Plato Eats. Two, check in, capture receipt, and then really see your wallet get fat. So next slide. The business model is pretty easy. We know that we're garnering foot traffic into existing establishments, food establishment, eateries, restaurants of all sorts. And so, we believe that if I'm a restaurant and we're spending marketing dollars to get foot traffic, instead of spending with TripAdvisor or Google Ads, 100% of what we spend as a restaurant goes to the pocket of those platforms. But with Plato, what we actually do is we actually give 70% of what restaurants spend to the pockets of people that actually visiting the restaurant. And so we've tested out a couple of these business model with the 30 restaurant partners that we currently have. Next slide. We believe this is a huge, huge market. It's actually been existing for a long time. If you kind of think about food, yes, everybody says it's a huge market. It's probably one of the best product market fit of anything that we do, right? Everybody's got to go out to eat, spend good time, but at the same time, it has one of the worst margins. It's a razor thin margins. And so we believe that if we can help local restaurants do a much better job acquiring repeatable customers, it's going to save them margins that really going to help their bottom line. So next slide. We know that there are currently existing solutions out there, but like I said, I won't beat the point, which is a lot of the data collection that's happening currently, if at all, is actually not verified by purchases. So again, coming back to the data, quality of data, we believe that having verified purchase and then creating that review is really critical. Next slide. Lastly, so in 2024, we're basically expanding to 10 different cities over 3 seasons. Each season is about 100 days. First city is actually going to be in Ho Chi Minh City starting in April. And so yeah, we're super excited to try to get, all our users within a few close proximity so that we can create that network effect with restaurant and eaters. Next slide. As a call to action, for Near users, we love for you to kind of participate in our season 1 scan, and you'll get special sort of pre-sale of our season 1 pass. And if you have Near in your wallet, you will get some special pricing just for scanning today. And Marcus, thank you for your time, and that is my presentation.
Oh, thank you for coming on here, Rob. That was amazing. Really looking forward to the utility play here. I just want to, again, thank Nishal and Rob for coming on. Horizon is actually hosting the first demo day for the full cohort right after this. So be sure to go to Near Horizon's Twitter, and it'll be live streamed right on the Twitter. Thank you, Laura, for linking it in the Zoom. If you can please also link it in the YouTube. I'm currently streaming right now. That would be amazing. And last but not least, we will move on to let me get to NEARWEEK slide. So ecosystem updates. So Peter, if you are on here, I'll hand it over to you.
I am. Can you hear me, Marcus?
Yep, can hear you perfect.
Sounds great. So hello, everyone. As always, very excited to be here. I want to start out by saying thank you, Adira, for the nice words. We're looking very much forward as well. And we can start the show. Marcus, please. So we still have 3 dApps on the top 10 of dApp radar. Near is still the most used chain in crypto, if you didn't know. Next slide, please. We have more than 11 million MAUs. We have had more than 850 million cumulative transactions on chain. We're seeing millions of daily transactions. We're seeing hundreds of thousands of new wallets created daily. And a stat that I'm very excited about is the number of returning monthly active users has increased tremendously over the past months. So it seems like users are getting stickier. Numbers are only going up. Big up to all the product builders and the ecosystem supporters. Next slide, please. And to help all of this happen and take place every day, we have the ferociously working protocol team spearheaded by Bowen. And as of yesterday, Near now has 5 shards live on mainnet. So I would say Near successfully implementing resharding on the mainnet is a pretty big breakthrough in blockchain scaling. So I want to give a huge congrats to the core protocol team. Near is getting faster and faster and more robust and scalable with each day that passes. And don't forget, we've never seen a single outage since mainnet launch. Ultra fast speed and scalability is Near. Stateless validation incoming. It can only go one way from here. Next slide, please. So I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but Near is part of the Grayscale Dynamic Income Fund. The Grayscale team is at the forefront of developments taking place in the crypto ecosystem and continues to leverage their expertise to create innovative investment opportunities. And as of end of February 2024, the GDIF consists of 9 crypto assets, including that of Near, LFG. Next slide, please. And Near Foundation has committed 100K USD to quadratic funding of public goods on Near via Potluck. And Potluck is a quadratic funding platform run by the Banyan Collective to support public good services and providers on Near. And project submissions are now open on the Potluck platform for the upcoming funding cycle. So everyone who's been building or supporting projects in public, I suggest you go visit Potluck to see if you're eligible for any funding. Next slide, please. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but Ref can be a little slow these days, and it's no wonder why, because liquidity incentives and Frax has landed on Ref and Burrow. Plus, on top of that, the hot wallet has enabled USDT staking natively in the wallet. So I don't want to go too much into detail here, but let's just say that the rewards are very juicy, and giving these more than 2 million hot wallet users access to staking USDT natively is just a game changer. They can do that gas-free, and when they're depositing, they're doing it into Burrow, offering them higher interest yield. What's not to like? Way to go, DeFi on Near. Next slide, please. If you haven't already checked out DApp, I highly encourage you to do so. More than 50,000 people have done so in the last month, and they're running these campaigns to incentivize users on the platform. Currently ongoing is the Odyssey Volume 2 campaign, and participating, you earn some of those sweet points that might make you eligible for a potential DApp airdrop at some point. For those of you who don't know, DApp is a near-native aggregator and gateway for Ethereum L2s, making your DeFi user experience as smooth as possible. I suggest you go check them out. Next slide, please. Also recently, the Stacks Foundation welcomed Near Protocol on their board. So joining in on the momentum of the expanding Bitcoin L2 landscape, Near Foundation partnered with the Stacks Foundation as a signer. And within the context of this partnership, Near will lend its infrastructure to Bitcoin L2s, provide an extra layer of decentralization, and contribute to consensus for the growing BTC L2 ecosystem. Extremely bullish. Next slide, please. I'm not sure if you've noticed, but I'd say there's like a small AI storm cooking on Near, or maybe it's actually kind of big. And there's an AI model marketplace slowly but surely taking form. Here's your chance to get an early peek at the Near AI Nexus. It features a Near Llama 7B model, whatever that is, probably nothing. And if you haven't already checked it out, Shield GPT allows you to shield meme tokens, and then it will automatically execute on behalf of that. I'm not sure if this is the end. I think it's just the beginning of AI taking off on Near. Next slide, please. So also during ETHDenver and tapping into the chain abstraction narrative, Sweat Economy, they executed their first ever transaction on the BNB chain, powered by none other less Near Protocol, of course. So Oleg Fomenko, the co-founder of Sweat, he successfully executed a transaction on the BNB chain using a Near-powered wallet, showcasing a tip of what can be achieved via Near Protocol chain abstraction. This is huge news for our ecosystem, and as was just demonstrated earlier in the call, we're only seeing the tip of the iceberg of what this technology is going to enable for Web3. I think we're looking very closely at the open web being unified. So big up to Oleg and the rest of the Sweat team. Big up to everyone from Pagoda working on this. Next slide, please. So I wanted to include a slide with a few bullish tweets. So with all that is brewing around the Near ecosystem, from AI to abstracted multi-chain dApps, Telegram bots to meme coins, I'd say it comes as no surprise that some of the big names around crypto Twitter are keeping a close eye on the ecosystem. The names of DeFi, Moki, Hasaka Trades, Ansem, Crypto Coach, CoinDesk, among others, are the latest to show their interest. Not financial advice. Do your own research. Next slide, please. And of course, all this time we knew it. Attention is all you need. So hosted by NVIDIA, the conference for the era of AI is the topic that reunites all 8 authors of Attention is All You Need, the groundbreaking paper that introduced the transformer neural network architecture. Transformers have since dominated all areas of AI and revolutionized the industry, and the technology is now used in ChatGPT, Gemini, and so forth. Among the authors, our beloved co-founder Illia who will be participating in a live panel hosted by no one else but Jensen Huang, the founder and CEO of NVIDIA, alongside his fellow co-authors to discuss the evolution of AI since their paper and project into what the future might hold for this revolutionary technology. Don't forget to tune into the live stream of this panel exactly a week from now, Wednesday, March 20th, 7 to 7:50 p.m. CET. And the last slide, please. So 2024 is not only the year of the dragon, it's also the year of hiding the complexity of multi-chain infrastructure to deliver the Web3 experiences users are striving for. The multi-chain future is becoming the chain abstraction future on Near Protocol. And so it seems that Near Protocol is destined to be the enabler of the open web by leveraging powerful technology and unifying a fragmented world of chains into one cohesive user experience. Now more than ever, dear friends, it's the time to show the world what the NEAR ecosystem is made of. 1 billion users, here we come. I want to give a huge shout out to everyone. Keep up the good work. Make sure to help each other out and play it safe. Remember that none of what I just presented and said should be construed as financial advice. As always, do your own research and follow NEARWEEK if you want to stay up to date on everything that moves NEAR protocol. Bless you all. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Peter. Like I said at the beginning, a lot of exciting things happening recently in the NEAR ecosystem. Things are really picking up. To echo Peter, really appreciate what everybody in the ecosystem has been doing. It's been absolutely amazing, and I really appreciate everybody taking their time to tune in today. Until the next town hall, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your day, and